Welcome to Double Doinkers Fantasy Football Podcast with Willie and Nic. This is the Week 18 podcast. That means we're giving you some of those last week predictions and talk about how the season went. Because realistically, I know for many people the season is over right now. This is the week I expect us to get like the least amount of traction because people are probably checked out a little bit. But this is also the week where we might as well talk about things that we talked. What did we say at the beginning of the year? What happened here? And then for those few of you who are doing maybe 2-week championships, or you guys just like extra football, so you're out there doing it again, we could talk about what's happening in these games. We don't have any like the nuclear boys or anything because there's just so few teams and so few players that are actually playing or people who are out there. So it's one of these like it's bare bones. But if you're out there and you need it, you know what's going on. If you're still there. But Willie, Happy New Year first off.
Happy New Year. It hasn't really set in yet.
Not at all, right?
Days felt like Sunday all day long, and it's Thursday.
I know. Look, I know people aren't scheduling these holidays because this is just the way it goes. But like Thursday holidays, stop. Just stop. Like, can we just switch them to Friday?
I'm all turned around because I made a mistake where I took last week off of work, and then I meant to take tomorrow off as well. But instead, I'm working like just tomorrow, and then I had the weekend, so I'm like in this weird limbo, and I'm just not about it. I'm reveling. I don't know words. I'm relishing in the idea that I got third place in both my main league and my work league. So I don't know what that says about me, but I'll take third place. It hurts last second. I don't know.
Yeah, I got fifth and sixth. I had like clear issues, and on my main league where I got fifth, it was like a kind of a blessing in disguise because every single one of my players got hurt the second week. So I would have just felt way more pain if I had made it to the semi-championship with none of my starters,
Yeah, I had like I think maybe the best week I had all year, championship week for me. So I easily won my third place game, and I had the most points that week. But it is what it is. I went out on a high note.
It is what it is. That's the answer to it. Like with fantasy football, if you make the playoffs, you got to consider it a winning season, as far as like your personal goals go, because of course everyone wants to be a championship. But as you can see from this year, it is so predicated on luck and standings and all manner of things that aren't just was I the best at picking up players throughout the season. So you really can't beat yourself up too much. As long as you made it to the playoffs and you put in effort, you did what you can.
Yeah. I think I was reading somewhere that the two players that most championship teams had were Puka and Trey McBride.
In my main league, the champion did have Trey McBride. That tracks. The person who had Puka didn't make the playoffs, and I did give them all sorts of endless antagonizing for.
You know, you can hit on one player and then just tank the rest of your draft, but you're still going to win weeks. Maybe not make playoffs, but you're still going to win weeks just because of that one player. But not the be all end all.
No, it's not. This week we have like a bevy of injuries. We have a lot of weird little. I shouldn't say little. We have a lot of players who are sitting because games don't matter as much this week. A lot of things are already set, and then we have a few games that really do matter a lot. Which is fun. So like we'll talk about those games specifically because I think those are the ones that everyone wants to hear about. Whereas the rest of the games, they just don't matter that much. So you'll be looking for your hopeful normal production from a lot of these players, and just you have to be hopeful for it. But let's run through some of the injuries that we're dealing with. And I do apologize if I randomly cut out for a second. I got the dreaded New Year's sickness that's going around with all the kids in the area. So I'm going to try my best to mute every time I cough because that's gross. No one wants to hear that. But if I don't, I apologize beforehand.
I feel like as a kid, like after Christmas, I would always get at least a little bit sick, and then my parents sick.
Dude, it's crazy because they had like a sickness during the Christmas break, right? And I managed to avoid that one completely. And then all of a sudden they started coughing and it sounded different. And I was like, oh no.
Progressed.
It progressed or changed or something. It was like, and then this one got me. You might be able to tell my voice was probably gonna crack at weird times. Lots of talking and changes. Anyways, yeah, that's life. You guys all know that. Everyone who's listening has gotten sick before. I guarantee it. So let's start with QBs. Josh Allen was on the injury report for Week 17. He did play. There's a chance that they could rest Allen for Week 18. After like giving him the first snap, so he keeps a streak of games started.
That makes sense. They're in a position where, and I mean, I think the Bills are uniquely here, but there's a couple teams where obviously they're already in the wild card, but they can decide more or less if they want to win or lose based on who they want to play. So, for example, I think if the Bills lose, and they might even know this ahead of the game, but statistically, I think they're most likely to play the Patriots if they lose. And if they win, they're more likely to play the Jags. So it's kind of like, which team which team would you want to play as the Bills? And obviously you can't really tank in there, but there's got to be some coaching strategy. It's like, do we want to rest our starters? Do we want to try? The Bears, for example, they are locked in to the 2 seed if they win, playing the Packers. Now, if they slip down to the 3 seed, if they lose and the Eagles win, or I think even if just they lose, they'll have to play the Rams or the Seahawks. So I think the Packers at Soldier Field sounds much nicer to the Bears than playing the Seahawks or the Rams or the Niners. I forget. I think it would be the Rams or the Niners. But yeah, I think that kind of goes without saying they're not going to rest their starters.
Mm-hmm. Well, and so the Bills play the Jets this week, right? And so the question is, how much does it matter if you're trying to tank or not? Can you out tank the Jets?
True.
And for me, if I'm the Bills, I look at that matchup against the Patriots and I say that's the one I want. We already know we match up well with the Patriots.
Yeah,
they're from New York as well, so it's not like the weather's going to bother them no matter which stadium they're in.
exactly.
So that is interesting. But Mitch Trubisky could go out and win this game.
I want to say maybe. Most likely, we'll say that.
Lamar Jackson was held out Week 17. The Ravens are going against the Pittsburgh Steelers this week. One of the games I think we will end up talking about more.
I think it's the final game of the season. Yeah.
Yeah, final game of the season, and it is a win and in. Whichever team wins makes the playoff. Whichever team doesn't, is out. Which is exciting, very exciting. Jackson was his first time practicing on a Wednesday in months, and I would be absolutely, completely shocked if they didn't bring Lamar Jackson in for this Week 18 game.
Yeah.
Tyler Huntley, I mean, he did win a game against the Packers. There is that. Like, maybe it's not the smartest thing to do. If Lamar can't play 100% and he doesn't look great, maybe they should start Tyler Huntley, but they're going to give it to Lamar. He's the MVP.
I think I think also like the Ravens probably have limited aspirations of going far in the playoffs, so they're going to want to get at least get to the playoffs and win the North. Even if that maybe puts Jackson's health in somewhat of a detriment. I think that the real like Super Bowl for these teams is this game this week.
Especially because both coaches have had like a lot of calls for their job this season, which is crazy when you're 1 game away from the playoffs either which way, and you've been so good historically.
I support keeping Tomlin and finally getting a good quarterback. I also support firing Harbaugh.
You feel that?
I feel that. I think at this point, like, again, he's won a Super Bowl 13 years ago, and at this point, like, you have a talent on the team, injuries notwithstanding, you have a talent on the team that you can kind of jump up another level, like not just going to the divisional round, and he just hasn't gone past. Maybe the Ravens made the AFC Championship with Lamar. I forget, but if they did, I just know like the games that have gotten far in the playoffs, generally they have not played as well. So they've hit their ceiling multiple seasons in a row with Jackson. I think it's time to maybe switch it up, but you do kind of have to have a contingency plan in place, which 2 years ago Mike Macdonald may have been that, but I don't know if there's like a really good coach out there.
This is the one thing I think I might give Harbaugh like the benefit of the doubt is that historically it seems like he does really well with when his defense does really well, and he's had to switch defensive coordinators so many different times.
True. Yeah.
And you see these defensive coordinators go on and like with McDonald have just like McDonald is easy enough to say he's probably gonna, I would imagine, he's a head runner for coach of the year, if not, Anyways, it's crazy to me as a Raiders fan. Trust me, it's crazy to me.
So there's a whole other world there that
Yeah, you're telling me you're good enough to make the playoffs almost, and you can get rid of that guy? We're 2 wins, what like easily the worst team in the league. We're still debating on if we get rid of this guy or not. Um. Okay, but so Lamar Jackson, that will matter to Lamar owners. Tyler Huntley doesn't seem to change much for anyone else right now.
if Huntley's in, it's Henry's going to be the focal point. If Lamar's
Mhm.
in, Henry's probably still going to be the focal point. So
Yeah, exactly. I don't. As far as fantasy implications, it doesn't change much for me. Um, excuse me.
I think so. I think that Steelers Ravens game is Sunday prime time, and then the two primetime games on Saturday are really the exciting ones for the week for me. That being the Bucks Panthers, which is slightly winning in with an asterisk, and then Niners Seahawks, which should be a
Yeah,
great.
yeah, that should be a great game because that's going to determine who gets the NFC West title and the number one seed, right? Basically.
Yep.
Um, gosh, that will be a great game. The 49ers and Brock Purdy have been looking fantastic.
And
But
that Bears game last week, I say this not just as kind of tongue in cheek, like I don't care that we lost, but like I actually don't care because that was an incredible game. Both defenses looked really bad, uh,
mhm.
but that was just an awesome football game. The Bears were in it until the very end, so I expect this Niners Seahawks game to be far less exciting, given the Seahawks defense, but it's the implications of it for the
I
rivalry and everything is great.
I think that like if the 49ers really want a shot at making the Super Bowl, they need that one seed.
Yep.
Because that defense is so bad right now that they're going to need to like have that home field advantage and that opportunity to get past that. Whereas with the Seahawks, I could see them making it deep either which way because their defense is better.
Hmm.
So it's just a great game because the Seahawks and the 49ers, trust me, there's no love lost there.
No.
None whatsoever.
And Darnold needs that redemption arc. He's not played well in the past few weeks. So if he goes out there and beats the Niners, that will give him a big confidence boost.
Hmm.
Plus a
Hmm.
bye week going into the playoffs, which could really help.
Oh, with Darnold, that would mean the world.
Yeah.
I mean, really. Okay, Justin Herbert's out week 18. He's not playing. If you have Chargers receivers that you are relying on, I would definitely be trying to pivot off.
Yeah. I feel like with the Chargers, besides Hampton, there's really nobody startable this week.
Yeah, yeah. And they're going against the Broncos. The Broncos are hoping to get the top seed in the AFC, so they still have something to play for. Whereas the Chargers are kind of locked in where they're at.
Yeah.
So I expect good things from the Broncos. I wouldn't expect great things from the Chargers here.
Yeah.
Jordan Love missed week 17, as well as Malik Willis. We'll just talk about the Packers quarterbacks. Jordan Love, he was in concussion protocol. I think he may have cleared it, or he's either on track to clear it. But I doubt that they play Jordan Love. There's not like this huge. What would be the purpose of playing Jordan Love right now?
They're locked into the 7th seed. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the third straight year, I believe. So the Packers don't have incentive to play their starters. I think just a couple hours ago it was announced that Clayton Tune is starting. So apparently, I don't know about this, but I guess apparently
Mhm.
Willis' shoulder, some kind of injury has not progressed to be fully healed. So they're gonna rock with Clayton Tune, which is
Well, they get to set like some weird version of history by losing 4 games in a row and still making the playoffs.
I read about
Um,
that.
I don't think that that's the like history you want, but it is history. So good for them.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be Clayton Tune versus Max Brosmer. So that's just uh, a football game.
Ugly.
It is.
Yeah, that's ugly. Brosmer and Tune. Oh yeah. So that speaking of which, JJ McCarthy. There's a chance he could play. He was a limited participant on Wednesday. But what is the benefit of trotting McCarthy out there again? Is this like hoping to see some sort of progress from McCarthy at the end of the year?
It's
C-
it, my cynical side it says it's almost like you're showing how bad McCarthy still is to give incentive for a quarterback that's going to be a free agent to want to join the Vikings. One more week of McCarthy, and they're like, oh, okay, actually, if I go to Minnesota and sign, like, I'll probably start. So this seals it for me.
Man, I don't know. It stinks. They're in a bad position because I'm not. It's so hard after like injured 1 year, plays not even a full year the next year, and then you just move on from JJ McCarthy, who I think was a top 8 pick, maybe
Yeah.
a top 10 pick. I can't remember exactly where. But also, what has McCarthy shown? That offensive receiving core, which should be one of the best in the league, is completely irrelevant.
Yep.
It's kind of crazy.
I mean, JJ McCarthy has shown what he showed at Michigan, which is a low floor, or excuse me, low ceiling, high-ish floor, high floor quarterback when everything around you was great. And
Hmm.
when he was drafted into the Vikings, like at least a year where he was a rookie, like everything was great. And not much change for the Vikings. They had some O-line injuries, but they just weren't at the same caliber of great that Michigan was that championship year that
Hmm.
AJ
Hmm.
was on starting for the Wolverines. So I mean, you just kind of got to hope that like magically the Vikings become a Niners type situation where they have just an incredible team around them and they have a game manager quarterback that can maybe get it done. It's kind of like his ceiling right now is Jimmy Garoppolo.
What free agent quarterback would you be most excited about joining up with the Vikings?
It's hard to say with free agency because there's not a lot of good free agents. Um, I mean, I really don't know. I think we talked about this a bit, and even then, I was kind of stumped. It's like, well, do you trade draft capital for Mac Jones? Is that worth it? Um, because there's really nobody that comes to mind. Malik Willis,
Yeah, Malik Willis, trade draft capital to get Kirk Cousins back.
I
I don't love that either. So, trade for Geno Smith. That's what you should do if you're the
yeah.
Vikings.
In the world of possibilities, that is not. There's a non-zero chance of that.
God, that would be the best. Speaking of Geno Smith, he is out for Week 18. We will see Kenny Pickett and Aiden O'Connell, not or
Ooh,
and yeah. Pete Carroll said he wants to give them both playing time. That sounds like a recipe for success.
that sounds like Pickett starts. No, maybe I mean logically AOC starts, and if he's playing too well, they bench him for Pickett. But I don't even know.
It scares me. Aiden is the one that scares me as a Raiders fan because we saw Kenny Pickett and I don't think he can win. But Aiden, like I've seen Aiden look terrible. I've also seen Aiden look serviceable, which is
Mhm.
so far and above beyond what we've seen out of the quarterback position for the Raiders this year that it would be scary.
Yeah, I mean Aiden's been better than Gino or Kenny all year in the past. Like
Hmm.
we've seen he plays. I mean, the Raiders went terrible last year.
No, no, and that was on the back of Aiden O'Connell. Well, I mean, really though, because they had one of the worst run games.
Yeah, nothing comes to fruition.
Um, as far as fantasy, that I like, what is it? Does it change any of your opinions? Like, Genty's still going to be someone who you're probably going to want to start this next week because the Chiefs don't look particularly good.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think that Genty's still startable. I think Bowers is officially out. Yeah, he's on IR now.
Mhm.
So
We did see Michael Mayer have a pretty good game in his stead, and I think that's still if you have tight end issues, Michael Mayer could still potentially be a good start. Michael Mayer is a serviceable tight end. He looked pretty good when he gets the opportunities. He just hasn't got those opportunities.
he's not a bad flex play. I think that regardless, I think Genty against the Chiefs and this Chiefs defense as it stands right now is still a good play.
Um, Christian McCaffrey. We're moving on to running backs in case you didn't tell, because I didn't say anything. So, he is hurt. Well, he got hurt during the game. He was a non-participant in their Tuesday practice, but also this game he's not sitting out. So I almost don't even feel like it's worth talking about unless he's actually hurt. I don't think Christian's gonna like sit out. There's almost no way that you're gonna keep this guy out of the season in
No,
this game for the 1 seed.
no, absolutely not. I mean, he's beaten the curse all year and he's been healthy, but this game of any game really besides the Super Bowl, this game for the Niners means the most to win. I mean, obviously you want to win wild card divisional, but you know what I mean. Like this is a very crucial game for the Niners to win.
I can I just for a quick second do this like weird sideways thing.
Yeah.
I was looking through my phone pictures and trying to delete it to clear up some space. And I was looking at this picture from 2018 in a trade I made.
Uh-huh.
Were you? I traded for Rob Gronkowski, and I traded Breida, Jarrett Cook, Will Fuller the fifth, and T.J. Yeldon.
Or the fifth, TJ Yeldon.
Four
For
players for one for Rob Gronkowski.
wait, who are they again? Breida
Breida, Cook, Will Fuller, and T.J. Yeldon.
for 2018 Gronk?
Yeah.
I
I'm sorry. I just the picture like was it popped up on my feed. I'm like, that's the funniest. That was an awful trade. I don't know.
what week was it though? That's the real question. Were you just desperate?
It was October 18th, so like week 9.
We're just giving up.
Um, I loved having Gronk on my team. Anyway, if Christian McCaffrey doesn't play, which would be crazy, don't bet on it. It would lower the ceiling of Brock Purdy for me, and it would definitely say play Brian Robinson Jr.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that was the thing we talked about all offseason. Like, B Rob could be a league winner. If it wasn't even like if, it was like when CMC inevitably misses a game, B Rob is a league winner. And we just have barely seen him. I think he maybe has one touchdown.
No, he's looked good whenever he's gotten the ball, but it's been so few times.
Yeah.
It's wild, man. If you burned a bench spot on Brian Robinson Jr., first off, I will let you know. Don't worry, it's not your fault.
No.
You should have did that. It's crazy that it didn't pay out at any point.
No. Yeah, in my work league, he was on my bench all year.
Every league I had him on my bench. I had a four-person bench. I had him on my bench all year. You know how much that hurts. But I also had CMC, so in that league.
Okay, so it was like real life.
Yeah, exactly. Devon Achan, non-participant during the Wednesday practice. He must have gotten hurt at some point during the game. If he doesn't play, you'd be looking at Jalen Wright and Ollie Gordon. I don't know that there's enough to say that like it's really like in question that he plays or he doesn't. But also this Miami game, the person that matters most to is McDaniel.
Yeah, he still wants to win.
He's getting a lot of good press right now. I think the Dolphins end up keeping him, which is just wild after the start of this year.
Did you hear today that apparently, for whatever reason, Troy Aikman is joining the Dolphins front office to help in their next GM search?
No,
which is kind of fascinating. I don't
maybe Mike McDaniel and Troy Aikman have the same drug dealer.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And look, I'm sorry, I'm making assumptions, and if you're a fan base either of those guys, I don't hate on it for this reason, but like, why are their eyes so red all the time?
We're talking about Miami too, so
yeah. Well, I was reading the story about Mike McDaniel walking around with a violent bat all week. Like he had a baseball bat that he was violent in the hallways of the team locker room with, and that was to instill the violent nature in his players, like to keep them scared, to keep them aggressive. And I can't imagine, even with a baseball bat, that McDaniel's a scary dude.
I feel like it make him more likable. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, I'm not scared. I kind of just go like, this is fun. This is cool. This is great. But look, for what it's worth, I still think I am optimistic on his future as a coach.
Me too. But if Miami are not, I think that he has a future as a head coach. I think Miami would be wise to keep him and move on from Tua if they can. But I agree. I think that even if he gets fired this offseason, worst case scenario, he becomes an OC somewhere else and like does a great job and is a head coach the following year. Like if they bring him to like Las Vegas or something, I'm not getting you excited, but like something like that,
I won't believe it till I see it, but I would love, like, if he was fired from this job, I think I've said it since like even earlier in the offseason, I would love for him to become the Raiders head coach because I think there's something there, and I think he was done kind of dirty by the GM.
Yeah.
Because like his ability to rejuvenate a run game, even when the offensive line is bad, or create one, is exactly what the Raiders would need because we haven't had a run game. I mean, can you imagine Mike McDaniel and Genty? That'd be sick.
That'd be sick. And like McDaniel thrives on like speed. So I don't know, like besides Genty, like what Raiders skill positions stand out for their speed specifically. Maybe Deontay Thornton, but there's something there. There's the skill pieces in Las Vegas for McDaniel to have a lot of fun with.
Yeah, but that's only if it happens. It would work out too well.
Yeah.
Brees Hall was hurt in the fourth quarter. The Jets lost to the New England. Um, he says it was a precaution that he was held out for, and he wants to go for the Week 18 game. With that said, it's the Week 18 Jets game.
He's playing. He's playing for a contract. I get it.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of the players. They know that their time is limited and they want to have as many games as possible, right? Um, Isaiah Davis also missed week 17, or at least sometime in week 17, so that could make the decision easier for the Jets.
Yeah. I think the Jets end up keeping Brees Hall next year. I think just purely because he's one of their best players, and they have freed up so much cap space by getting rid of Sauce and Quinn Williams. They have so much money. Like, what is the alternative? Like, okay, using one of your draft picks on a running back that could be as good as Brees Hall, or like using all the money you have to pay Brees Hall. It just makes sense to keep him.
Um, what about Aaron Glenn? How do you feel like they feel about Aaron Glenn? Do they just keep going with him? Do they call this a wash year, or do you think they're going to one and done him?
It's hard. I want to say they keep him, but two reasons that would be like, okay, one reason really is that he's a defensive head coach. And their defense specifically, even with all the quarterback carousel, all the injuries, Garrett Wilson injury, their defense is the reason they're losing games. And that reflects badly on a defensive head coach. So I think they probably do end up keeping him, but it's still a bad look for him at least.
It's a bad look. The one thing I think that, and I'm not going to get too political on the show, but the owner of the Jets has been like implicated in some of those files that have been released over that are so important, that he might not be paying that much attention. So that's why I think maybe you keep see Aaron Glenn stay, because he's just like, no, you guys do whatever you got to do. I'm dealing with some legal stuff.
He's checked out, yeah.
Which is a bad place for your owner to be, by the way. Checked out is not good.
No, but it's the Jets, so they're
Yeah.
used to it.
Yeah, they're like, Woody, when he shows up, everything goes bad. Amarian Hampton was a non-participant in the Chargers practice on December 31st. They said it was due to an ankle injury.
Oh,
It didn't seem to happen during the game. It's hard to say, because like no one really knows when it happened, and the ankle could just be like a maintenance thing. It also could just be a reason to keep him out week 18, so that way they go into the playoffs with, ensuring that their team is healthy.
I mean, having it be an ankle injury is significant just because that's what he missed so much time with. So any chance of re-aggravating that is probably not ideal. And they have
Mhm.
Vidal, so like even in a game they don't have to win, like Vidal could fill in. So maybe Hampton is someone to look at as not playing this week.
That would be doing a favor for Vidal too, honestly, because Vidal's looked pretty darn good, and he could definitely get a job somewhere else.
Yeah,
Not next year necessarily, but in the future.
yeah.
Aaron Jones of the Vikings, non-participant. Um, I think it's the same injury that's been, keeping him out of practice for the last few weeks. What are they gonna do?
Yeah.
They're probably just gonna play him.
Jordan Mason's out, I believe. So
Yes. Let's see. He missed week 17 due to an ankle injury. They say he has a chance to play, but it's limited.
okay.
A long shot is what I mean to say, not limited. Alvin Kamara, he's not playing. Stop. Don't even bring up his name, guys. Like,
I do want to mention Kamara real quick with the Saints too. With the Bucks Panthers game, because the NFC South is so bad and the winner's going to be probably 8-9. Even if the Bucks beat the Panthers, if the Falcons beat the Saints or the Saints beat the Falcons, I forget which one now. I think if the Falcons beat the Saints, then the Panthers are in the playoffs.
oh, does it go to strength of schedule immediately after that?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So the Bucks need to win.
Yeah, but that doesn't guarantee anything, and it's funny because like they play on Saturday night, so they might get that win, and then the next morning, literally, the Falcons beat the Saints, they're out. So it's if the Bucks win, they're not going to be super.
It's New Orleans. I just got it. It's New Orleans. I need New Orleans to win.
Oh, okay.
So that's gonna be crazy, because both those teams are like, It's just insane to me. Like they both look so good at times, and now it seems like right when they have the opportunity to push for the playoffs, they both just can't figure it out.
With the Saints, it's just lack of good players. I have a lot of faith in them going forward. With the Falcons, it's coaching. Straight up.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Tootin, he's back, so there's good news. Blake Corum, he got hurt in week 17. There's not a lot of reason for them to bring him back for week 18 at this point, so I don't necessarily see him playing unless he's is totally healthy, and they want to keep Kyron Williams a little bit fresh. But they do have their Jarquiz Hunter, right? So
yeah, they have another rookie back, and they're playing the Cardinals. So I guess we'll take that with a grain of salt.
And they love Ronnie Rivers, so that's what I've been told.
Ronnie Rivers, I forgot. I always forget about him.
Yeah, he still exists on that team. Okay, we'll move on to the wide receivers. Amon-Ra St. Brown. He got hurt in the game against the Vikings, hurt his knee. Amon-Ra's pushing to play against the Bears. But if he's not, then Jameson Williams, Tesla in particular becomes relevant because I think if Amon-Ra's in, he's not.
Tesla is nowhere near the level of Christian Watson, at least not yet, but he's that similar type of player where he's got that big play touchdown upside.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the Bears often suck at. at least in divisional games this year, is that a receiver can get downfield and get open and get a big play. Mm-hmm. So Tesla would be that guy, and Jameson, but Tesla especially in the end zone.
Tesla makes the craziest contested catches over and over again. And he gets hurt immediately after all of them because when you are getting hit by 3 different players while you're in the middle of the air, it does things to your bodies, I guess.
Yeah. I'm gonna grab some water real quick. I'll let you talk about
okay.
The status of the rest of that game.
Yeah. You go do your thing. Drake London, a wide receiver for the Falcons. He is a limited participant. He did return from a knee injury last week, but he didn't really do much. It seemed like it was more of a game just to get him back on the field. He'll most likely play week 18, and maybe you'll see something more relevant. However, I imagine if you're in the playoffs with Drake London, you played him last week, he didn't go so well. Jalen Waddle, he didn't practice on December 31st, and it was a rib injury. He did suffer the injury during the game in week 17, but he was able to return to the field. So the Dolphins could shut down Jalen Waddle, or they could play him. It's kind of the similar situation as Achane. If you believe that McDaniel's coaching for his job, they probably won't Waddle out there.
Probably, and he's had a history of like you said with the rib injury, missing part of a game and then coming back. So if it's not something super serious, I expect him to play. Same with London. I think that the Falcons don't really have much to play for either, but I think that getting their star players out there, if they're healthy, it's not like they have to rest them up for playoffs. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm. The Falcons, I would be so much more positive on their players if they still had Penix, if he was still playing and they needed more reps for him. But the fact that he hurt his knee, it just kind of stinks for this whole rest of the season.
I also want to add real quick, it's really fortunate that it's the Panthers and the Bucks in the situation, because if it was a situation with the Falcons and the Bucks playing for the NFC South, and the Falcons needed the Saints to win in order to get in, the Saints would not win that game.
No, they would be like, we're done.
No way.
Well, the Saints, by the way, they don't look like they're that interested in winning the game anyways, because they have ruled out Chris Olave already. It was a blood clot that was discovered in his lungs, so it's a health issue. Who knows if it's full on he needed to be out all the way for this health issue, or it just was a scary thing and they're like, yeah, it's week 18, just go deal with your stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, Chris Olave, of course, being known for the crazy concussions that he had, so he's got all sorts of things going on behind the scenes. Next year will be an interesting season for Chris Olave as far as draft position, because he was a top 10 wide receiver in PPR this year.
And recency bias aside, in the championship is really where he showed out. So that's going to shoot him up draft boards regardless. Every year, if a player does great in the championship weeks, that's going to shoot him up.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, him and Shook seem to have a better connection than him and Rattler did. And it wasn't like Rattler and him were terrible. It's just the Shook is better.
Yeah.
So, a lot of it would be interesting for next year because there's a lot of just I think for me there's a ton of it's the same thing as this year, right? Like he could be good, but there's a lot of reasons to doubt that he can make it through a whole season.
Yeah.
So Devontae Adams is not practicing right now. Um, the Rams have their playoff spot locked up. You're not going to see Devontae Adams in Week 18 against the Cardinals. I don't see why they would do that.
No.
Marvin Harrison Jr. is out for Week 18. They're doing that specifically so Mike Wilson can cook.
Yeah. He's let me see. I think he might be contract eligible. Let's see here. He was drafted in 2020. Yeah, so he is eligible for a contract extension. He's played 3 years, so it's not like a lock for him to get one, but you'd maybe think they give him one.
Yeah, right now would be the time because if this is like a true emergence, then he's going to be more expensive after next year.
Yes, and then also next year they have to. I mean, totally up in the air, but they have to decide what to do with MHJ. So better
And
to
that
get
is totally up in the air right now. Does Marvin Harrison just wash out of the league if he doesn't have a good year next year? Or does he end up having a revival on a different team? And those are the questions.
They're in a weird situation. The Cardinals are.
Yeah, they are, no joke. Roma Dunze, it's. Do you think he plays? I would guess he does.
I think he probably is out because Luther Burden, I think maybe a full participant in practice today or yesterday, which is huge because like the end of the Niners game, he was down in the end zone and he looked like he was hurt.
They carted him off, and no one saw that because it happened at the end.
Yeah, that looked really bad. But then he was giving post-game locker room interviews, so I was like, okay, he's probably fine. But looks like he's going to play this week. So
Luther Burden, who had emerged, like he'd been getting better for a while, and then last week without Odunze, he just really exploded.
Oh yeah, he had like 30 points or something.
Yeah, we'll talk more about this later on because it's not the off season yet. We're not talking about drafts. Do you think that like as far as like the wide receiver you would project to be the wide receiver one for the Bears next year?
Based on the eye test, I gotta say Burden. Like he is just once he got going and was getting like the primary wide receiver 3, and then with injuries wide receiver 2 reps, like he delivered. He looks like a superstar at times, so I'm inclined to believe it might be him.
Yeah,
I said this in the offseason and I was more or less wrong, but the murky Bears receiver room, well, like actually it's the opposite of the problem with the Packers where they have a legit trio of wide receiver ones, so it makes it kind of hard to pick which one, but similar to Rome this year, I think just going off upside, like targeting Burden in drafts probably makes the most sense.
Rome looked like he had a phenomenal start to the season, but there has been a difference in eye test for me between the two, whereas like Rome is schemed open and has pretty good hands. Burden seems to be able to do more once he catches the ball, and it's that sort of like shakiness maybe isn't the right word, like electricity almost when he's like gets the ball that I think it can propel him to like a superstar over just like a good player otherwise.
Exactly, my cat agrees.
Yeah, like I hear you talk about the Bears. Let me get in on this.
I got her a custom Bears jersey for her to wear during games.
See, that's perfect. That's awesome. You gotta send a picture of that custom Bears jersey on the cat.
I will. What was I going to say about the Bears receivers? I think I lost it, but I was going to say with Burden too, like that, the dynamicness of his play. Also, you see because he lines up at running back occasionally, and he is a yak monster. So he has that similar to DJ Moore in ways. Like he has that after catch ability that just makes him even more of a threat than Rome.
I believe it was Luther Burden who broke that cornerback on the 49ers ankles twice in the same play, and it just looked so good. He cut one way, fell down, cut the other way, he fell down again. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Ricky Pearsall, limited participant.
Okay.
I'm laughing because like what do you do? He played against the Bears. In theory he should play the next week, but like in theory he should have played more than like 2 games this season. It was like 6, but
he doesn't have much to play for. He's not eligible for a contract. Niners, they need some receivers to be healthy. Like,
if Purdy's, I mean, here's the thing: if you have Pearsall and Purdy has been doing what he's doing, and you don't have a great like flex or wide receiver three, if you're that far deep, you can still throw him in there. This is going to be an important game.
He's still a flex play. Yeah.
Wandale Robinson made history as like the shortest 1,000-yard receiver in some time period. I was watching the game because the Raiders Giants.
I think he's like 5'8", and he was
Yeah,
5'8" receiver to hit 1,000 yards, at least a century or something. Yeah, good for him.
it was in a long time, so it's like good for Wandale first off.
Good for 5'8" men. Shout out. To
You can do it, as a matter of fact. And well, okay, I think I've talked to you about this, Willie. If you're wondering about the NFL and height, right? What I'll tell you is this: is that if I've in my little brief moments covering the Super Bowl for CBS, one thing that struck me is that football players aren't that tall. Not all of them. Some of them are, but not all of them. A lot of them are like the size of normal people. Just they're like just gigantically muscular.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I know you when you think of athletes, you probably think of the basketball players who are really tall. Those guys are really tall. They're crazy tall. Football players, not so much. So, but however, Wandale Robinson being the first 5'8" receiver in forever to get 1,000 yards, congrats.
Yeah.
I don't remember Wandale Robinson getting hurt, but this is Giants' turn now to put everyone on IR to try to maybe get that one spot again.
It's between the Giants and the Raiders. I looked. So if the Raiders lose, they're automatically number one. If the Raiders, I think if the Giants and Raiders lose, the Raiders get it. If the Raiders win and the Giants lose, the Giants get it. That's just how it's set up now. So
there's like a scenario where the both teams, the Raiders win, Giants lose, Raiders still get it, and that's if like Cincinnati wins, San Francisco wins. There's 4 teams. They need 3 of them to win.
The strength of schedule thing is so confusing because like head to head, if the Raiders win, Giants lose, they'll both be 3-14, I believe, and same record. And then the Giants would still give the number 1 pick over the Raiders in most scenarios, which is dumb because the Giants beat the Raiders. So there should be some. I don't understand how that strength of schedule thing works. I feel like it should be more head to head, but whatever.
Yeah, the argument I've heard is that like the team with the worst record and the easier strength of schedule is clearly the worst team, right? But in this case, I would go ahead and say that with the Raiders having only 2 wins and one of them being against the Patriots week 1 when that team wasn't like solidified, the Raiders suck so bad.
Who else did the Raiders beat this year?
It was I don't even remember. See, that's bad too.
Was it the Browns? No, it wasn't.
No, they lost to the Browns. They lost pretty well to the Browns. It was early on in the season. It was early on in the season too. Let's see. I can get this. It wasn't. Oh, Tennessee.
Oh, okay, so we're all right.
Yeah, that's what you're wondering. Tennessee is still technically worse, but somehow they won another extra game. Thank goodness. Okay, so Rashid Shaheed. He got a concussion in week 17. He would need to clear it in time to play for the 49ers in week 18. Well, play against the 49ers in week 18. Shaheed's not someone I want to play in fantasy right now, regardless of if he's in or out.
No, yeah, because I mean he's gotten so many points this year, but they've been on for special teams.
Yeah, like they could need him, but I'd rather play AJ Barner.
Yeah.
At this point, Pat Bryant. He had that gigantic hit. He had to go to the hospital at week 16. He did practice limited on Wednesday. I don't think he's cleared any protocols at all, but he could play week 18.
Yeah, that's a good sign.
I like if I'm the Broncos, unless I think Pat Bryant is like a real needle mover, I think I'm keeping him out one more week.
Because he could be a needle mover in the playoffs if needed. He's a big play guy, so.
George Kittle, he didn't play in week 17 against the Bears because he got hurt against the Colts. I still think George Kittle could play here because it was a game time decision last week, and they really need to win this.
Yeah, it's one of those like this is a big game for them. Like they really need to win this game. So
Ton just has looked good at the very least.
Yeah, especially last game.
So I don't know. It apparently is like just down to swelling in Kittle's ankle, so you have to wonder what's happening there. Kyle Pitts was on the injury report, but it seems like there's no real reason to worry about him. Dalton Kincaid missed the Eagles Bills game. It's so hard with Dalton Kincaid because his role in that offense should be awesome, and yet I have such a hard time caring because he can't seem to just show up for it.
No, like even when he's healthy, he's disappointing. That Eagles Bills game was just terrible for fantasy and otherwise. Just woof.
Um, it doesn't change a lot. I think you could throw in Dawson Knox if he's not on the field, but like it's not my top choice as far as streamers. I'd rather go with Michael Mayer over Dawson Knox.
Yeah, or like AJ Barner if he's on waivers.
Mm-hmm. Hawkinson missed week 17 with shoulder injury. He might play week 18. I don't really want to play him week 18.
There's better options.
Mm-hmm. Harold Fannin, he got hurt in practice before week 17, but he did get to play. He did then get hurt after he scored a touchdown in week 17.
Okay. Oh right, yeah. Okay, I remember that.
It wouldn't be shocking for me to see Fannin sit out, but also I would love it if the Browns just let him get more play if he can.
And I mean, again, Stefanski, if he's going to be on this team next year, he needs to have at least one more win. I would say he's pretty.
I do want to give you a shout, Willie, real quick while we're talking about Fannin because I was as we were listening to the preseason, some of the thoughts that we had. One thing that shot out was Willie was calling Harold Fannin someone to look out for because he thought he could be a productive player almost immediately. And if you had Harold Fannin this year as your tight end, you enjoyed it. Like it went really well, and especially when we saw Shedeur come in.
He was even solid like pretty early on, like at
Mhm.
least for a tight end. But I think he finishes like tight end 6 or something. So yeah, his
So
tape at Bowling Green was really good.
yeah, so good call on that one. Because from what I remember listening to preseason, there was like maybe like a mention of him or two in places, but like not a lot of beating the drum for him. So
It was all David Njoku, yeah.
Ferguson is hurt. He aggravated a calf injury on Christmas. He has the chance to tie the Cowboys single season touchdown record for tight ends if he plays.
Really?
Yeah, he needs one, I think, to tie it and two to pass it. So
wow, that's crazy. I mean, I would never have guessed that.
No. So I can see Ferguson playing and then getting because Jerry Jones, like for what it's worth, he does seem like the type of guy who will gas people up for these sort of things.
Yeah, and I mean something the Cowboys having a positive note to end the year is big too. They're playing the Commanders.
Yeah, so
yeah, that feels good.
No, they played the Commanders last week. They are playing the Giants.
Oh, even better.
Yeah, you do want him to play because that's a great matchup, and he has something to score for. So this is one of those players in a game that doesn't matter in theory that you would want to play because he has something that the whole team will likely care about.
Yeah.
And then Njoku, he's missed a bunch of practices, a bunch of games in a row. There's no reason he's coming back. I wouldn't worry about it.
No.
And if he does come back, you don't want to play him.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the injuries. So let's
There we go.
Okay, I was like he really disappeared. We'll talk just real quick about these games because there's not a ton that matter. Like a lot of them are just for nothing. And like I said, you're gonna look at like personal records or contract markers for payouts. I'm forgetting what the incentives. But the games that matter: Panthers, Buccaneers. Two teams that don't want to make the playoffs, but one of them has to. I think as far as the offenses go for this team, you can play any of the pieces you've been. Tet going to be a great play. T-Mac. For Panthers running back, who are you going with?
I mean, against this Bucks run defense, you can probably just pick.
Just play both of them. Yeah.
There's a good amount of Bucks fans I've read that just don't want to win this game because it could mean keeping Todd Bowles, and they want Todd Bowles gone, and I agree. And I would love to see the Panthers in the playoffs just for fun.
I would as well. I think the Panthers are going to be a good team. I think they're going to be a good team. I think they're going to be a good team. I think they're going to be a good team. I think they're going to be a good team. I think they're going to be a good team. I think they're going to be a good team. I think they're going to be a good team. I think they're going to be a good team. I think they're going to be a good team. I think they're going to be a good team. I think they're going to be a good team. I think they're going to be a good team. I think they're going to be a good team. I think they're going to be a good team. I think they're going to be a good team. I think they're going to be a good team. I think they're going to be a good team. I think they're going to be a good team. I think they're going to be a good team. I think they're going to be a good team. I think they're going to be a good team. I think they're going to be a good team. I think they're going to be a good team. I think they're going to be a good team. I think they're going to be a good team. I think they're going to be a good team. I think they're going to be a good Do you play Bucky?
Mm, yeah, I think you do. He's been really disappointing, but so has most of the Bucks. And you took him in the second round. Like, yeah, he probably just got to go for it.
Hmm. What about Egbuka? Do you play Egbuka?
God, at this point, I don't know.
Yeah, it's rough. I think in this particular game, if I'm in the championship this week and you see these players, these teams who have something to play for, I'm willing to take the shot on them over maybe similar like tiered players.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, like Egbuka, it's not that you want to play him, but like he has a team that's gonna fight to win pretty hard. So, because even if the Bucks fans want them gone, Todd Bowles doesn't want them
no,
gone.
he's
You
no, Apple doesn't want to be
know.
gone. Even though he acts like it sometimes.
I've heard being a fired head coach is a really good position, especially if your contract is going for a few more years.
Yeah.
Um, there's not a lot of like this will be a fun game to watch. I'm excited to watch it. There's not a lot of like fantasy news here because I think for me, I'm playing most of the players I've been playing the whole time. I'm playing Evans. Um, Godwin's a good flex.
Mhm.
Like the ceiling's not huge because Baker hasn't looked good and the play calling has been pretty bad. But at the same point, these are both all teams that the players are going to be playing and they're going to be playing hard.
Yeah, harder than they have been, at least in theory.
This is why week 18 for me is such a hard championship week if you're still in it, is because like now it's just like I'm playing my players based on their motivation, and that's such a hard thing to
I can't,
gauge.
I can't support fantasy championships being week 18 personally, unless I can understand if you're doing that, the situation where you have 17 and 18, and then like the highest points between those two.
Mhm.
No, there's some nuance there, but I think week 17 championships just make the most sense.
Yeah. There's a lot less of this questionable nature.
Yeah.
So that's my analysis in that game. Play the people who you would play anyways. I wouldn't go out of my way to play like anyone on the outside like Otten.
Hmm.
Probably not like super excited to play him. I would try to avoid that. But
Probably not.
Coker I would play as like a flex. Not really high, but like I would be willing to play him because they're going to sell out to win this game.
Yeah.
I mean the Panthers, I know they want to win for sure. Um Canales needs that. Let's just move on because it's gonna be a fun game to watch. But as far as fantasy goes, it's not like the most
Yeah.
complicated game to talk about. These defenses aren't great, so you don't have to worry about that as much.
And I would say the same for the Hawks and the Niners game that's in prime time on Saturday, being that similar expectations of the Bucks Panthers skill position fantasy pieces, but just with a higher ceiling.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay, let's say you have. I'm trying to think of a good comp here. Flex position.
Mm-hmm.
Cooper Cup or Tonjes?
Challenges.
No. Yeah. Okay. This is hard. I'm like, this is again. You're gonna play these players. Tonjes is, I think, is a good option if Kittle's out.
What about Ricky Pearsall or Chuba Hubbard?
I think Chuba. I'm more convinced that Chuba's gonna get something like the floor is higher for me.
Yeah, definitely a higher floor. I think I'd probably agree, just because it's the also just because it's the Bucks defense versus the Hawks defense.
Hmm. Exactly. That's like the other part of it because the Hawks are they're just a better defense easily, and the 49ers are way too willing to like find the matchup weakness and just exploit that over and over again.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, because I was trying to figure out a line for Shaheed here where I'd want to get Shaheed into this, and I'm like, I can't figure it out. It's hard for me. Um, Shaheed or Egbuka?
Don't ask me that one.
That's ugly. I think I'm still on Egbuka in that scenario. I
Probably. Yeah.
yeah.
He could have a really good game, but again, it would be special teams more likely than not.
Hmm. AJ Barner or K Dotton?
Barner.
Okay. AJ Barner or Jalen Coker?
If Shahid's out, Barner. If Shahid's in, Coker.
Okay. All right. Fair. This is like it's kind of ugly questions, and I know that. This is where we're at
There's
though.
somebody out there that's trying to figure this out. I'm speaking to you.
um, let's. Who else? What other games have these implications? The Broncos Chargers. We'll talk about them real quick because the Broncos could get the number one seed in the AFC with a
Uh,
win, and I think a Patriots loss, right?
yeah, I think just a win.
Just
Um,
win. Yeah.
I
Okay.
think just a win. And I mean, the Patriots playing the Dolphins, so it's kind of up in the air. But I think that the Broncos are probably locked in to win this game just because with Herbert sitting, it feels kind of inevitable.
hmm Um, I I think with the Broncos players, you're gonna like Sutton in, RJ Harvey in.
Yeah.
Um, do you play Troy Franklin if Pat Bryant is out?
Nah,
And not that desperate.
nah.
Um, the Chargers, if Herbert's out, I'm not. I really want to pivot off of any of their players.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like
This,
I think all their top receivers, including Gadsden, all have like obviously this is could be higher ceiling for sure, but like I feel like their floor and ceiling is like around like 3 catches for like 26 yards and maybe a touchdown.
mhm,
Like that's
mhm.
kind of where they're at,
Yeah, they could just be the black holes on your team. You know.
as they have been.
Let's say I'm looking at these teams just. Let's talk about Raiders Chiefs for a second
Okay.
because I'm a Raiders fan and we desperately need to lose this game. I do still think Michael Mayer has a good team, a good game. I think the Chiefs are going to want the Raiders to win this game. And if you don't know the pettiness of the Chiefs, like they absolutely would love for us to not get Mendoza that's who we
Yeah.
choose, or not to get Mora. They would love to take away that option for the Raiders. Um, so I don't want to play like we have been saying. No one on the Chiefs. There's not a player on the Chiefs. Even if the Raiders are a bad team, I don't want to play anyone on the Chiefs.
No. No.
With the Raiders, I think Genty and Michael Mayer are my line. With the Trey Tucker is like this. You want to throw someone out there, okay, but I wouldn't. But you could.
I almost like Mayer more than Tucker for sure. I think I could
Mm-hmm.
confidently say that.
I agree with that, especially if you're seeing Kenny Pickett and Aiden O'Connell. Kenny Pickett threw 63 yards in his last start. Yeah,
He's
bad.
he's been in the league 4 years, so I mean he's gonna be a free agent. Maybe he's trying to play to get another contract somewhere.
Gosh, dude, if he does that, then he will get blacklisted from the NFL. He's gonna like do that like Matt Flynn freaking like 5 touchdown game out of nowhere that gets him a
God.
contract again.
He can become the next third stringer on the Cardinals. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. Um, Lions Bears. Do you think the Lions play hard in this game?
I think so. I think that the Bears also play hard because this game has implications. Getting the 2 seed is much more beneficial than getting the 3 seed. So I still think the Bears probably easily win, but the Lions are pretty defeated. Having said that, I think they still play their players, and in terms of fantasy, I think it's still a good start for most
Mm-hmm.
most
Okay.
everyone. Would start. Yeah.
I could agree with that. The Bears defense isn't suit. They're like there's not their strong suit. So
No,
this is where
it's
you
not.
can see the Lions actually put up some points potentially. If Amon Ra is out, are you playing Tesla over AJ Barner?
Yeah.
Are you playing Tesla over Pearsall?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And if he's in, that's not a question. Like
Yeah.
I wouldn't play Tesla if Amon Ra is playing. They're too healthy otherwise. Ravens Steelers. There's a lot of ugly playoff like these are important games, but they're ugly for fantasy because like if y'all look at the Steelers in general and I say, do I want to play someone on this team? The answer is like, no, not really. Like,
The running backs, I think I can give the benefit of the doubt to Gainwell and Warren,
yeah,
and then like just kind of as we've seen historically, like it's Lamar and Henry. That's really it on the
hmm
Ravens this
hmm
time of year.
yes, yeah. If Lamar's out, do you play Zay Flowers?
No, I think even if Lamar's in, that's questionable.
Fair, fair. The
But I mean,
Steelers,
it is a must-win game, so I'll give him that. But I think if Lamar's out, no question, I would not start Zay Flowers.
do you play Mark Andrews if Lamar's out?
No,
Okay. And with the Steelers, so you got Gainwell, you got Warren. Who
That's
do you
kind of
think
a
is
coin
gonna have a
flip.
better?
I don't know. Who do you think?
I asked you the question because I hate it. I think it's gonna be Warren because last time I went with Gainwell and it was Warren. So
I think both have pretty safe floors. Like, if you're starting Warren, he's probably your RB2. If you're starting Gainwell, he's a flex. But I think both are solidly at least in the flex.
Fryermuth is a player that I don't think it's talked about enough. But like with DK out, Fryermuth kind of looked like the wide receiver one on this team.
And with Darnell Washington out, Darnell Washington's a sneaky big part of his offense. He just
But,
got injured as well.
sneaky big, but also just really big too.
As
Like
sneaky as he can, being 6'7".
6'7", over 300 and some pounds. Like I actually think that Fryermuth, like if you want, I don't necessarily recommend this to your championship games, but if you're doing like daily fantasy and you want someone to change your matchup, like be that kind of wild card in your matchup, Fryermuth might have a kind of good game.
He probably has the best upside of any of the streamable tight ends this week.
hmm hmm He also could disappear. I really don't like this game because the Ravens haven't been particularly good outside of Henry. Like and even Lamar hasn't been very good when he's been playing. Um,
Yeah,
and the Steelers are running backs and no one else because DK is not even there. So
yeah, it's gonna be
ugh.
an ugly game. It's gonna be a defensive game if you want to call it that, because neither defense is very good.
Who do you predict wins this?
Okay, well, I think if Lamar's out, I'm gonna go Steelers. My gut is still saying Steelers, but I don't know. At the same time, the idea of Aaron Rodgers joining the Steelers and them finishing 9-8 and just nearly missing the playoffs just makes so much sense. They're
Mm.
still over 500, but they miss. So I'm probably gonna go Ravens, but I
Yeah, it's
eh,
ugly. It's ugly. I
yeah,
actually think for me, I'm gonna go Steelers if Lamar's in
okay.
because Lamar's been good, but I think he has been pushing himself and it hasn't been working for the team.
I agree. I agree. I think my gut says Steelers as well. I probably would pick Steelers either way. I think the poeticness of being 9-8 with Rodgers makes sense. But yeah, I think the Steelers, like, they've looked bad, but they beat the Lions in a must-win game for the Lions, and they're
I
streaky.
I want to point out that Joe Burrow, when asked about Miles Garrett's sack record this week, said the right thing. He said, "I'm just gonna play the game I always play. If he gets it, he gets it. If he doesn't, he doesn't." Essentially, I'm paraphrasing here
And
because
really, go ahead. But the Steelers would have won that game.
they would have won that game so easily if Rodgers would have stopped freaking out about giving someone else a record. I, as a player, even now, like Rodgers is just so despicable to me. Like I despise watching this guy play the game. It's so stupid. Because they would be in the playoffs. Like, what are you doing, Steelers? Like, so that's the one reason I can say that the Ravens win is because the Steelers shot themselves in the foot so hard because of Aaron Rodgers just not wanting to be on the other name of a record.
And I mean, if anything, Rodgers should have just subbed out, faked an injury, and let
Gosh,
Mason Rudolph go out there. Yeah,
straight up.
yeah,
It was so frustrating.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, I say the Steelers. There's not a lot of fantasy implications past what we said. So let's talk just briefly about our preseason predictions. You may, if you follow us on social media, I'm going to post some videos of us talking together because that's fun because we actually got to meet up this week and talk about it. But we'll give people the thing here too.
Sweet. I'm gonna grab one more thing, and you start off with. We're gonna be going over our preseason divisional prediction rankings, right?
Yeah, exactly. So
One second.
I'll go ahead and give us a rundown. So okay, so prior to the season, if you were here with us, we had really long, drawn out breakdowns of every single division. They took forever. They're like 3-hour podcasts. It's just disgusting stuff for people who love fantasy football way too much. And we did give predictions for how we thought everything would finish. We talked about every player on each team. Listening back through it, I actually feel like we did fairly good. But let's talk about what we actually predicted as far as the divisional standings first off. I'm gonna go ahead and start with the AFC. That's just a list of what I wrote out here. So the AFC East, I predicted Bills, Patriots, Dolphins, Jets as the final standings. Willie predicted Bills, Patriots, Jets, Dolphins. So we were both wrong about maybe the top team. And listening to us talk, I think that we both did have the Patriots making a jump over where they were last year. We just had the Bills being better still.
Yeah,
So like it doesn't feel like a big lose to me. I think we had both of them going to the playoffs either which way.
I was feeling pretty high about the Patriots. I just think I didn't let it enter my realm of possibility that the Patriots could take over the division so fast over the Bills specifically.
Mhm.
Um, but I think we also agreed that we talked about the Jets and Dolphins and our predictions being flip flopped, but also just being like it doesn't matter. We don't care. Which,
Yeah, exactly. They're not both not going to be good, and
yeah,
that's kind of how it played out. So I think not any real big shocks here. Okay, I thought I had a page pulled up of actual divisional standings, and it turns out that was just someone else's thoughts. So, but yeah, currently the Patriots 13-3, Bills 11-5. So the Patriots did win the division. Otherwise the Dolphins 7-9, Jets 3-13. So, uh, well, the AFC South was a interesting one because I think it changed a lot, and the Colts were definitely way better than almost anyone could have predicted at the starting of the year.
yeah.
You show me a person who predicted that from the Colts, and I'll tell you who's a time traveler. Uh, here's what Willie you had: Texans, Jags, Titans, Colts. I actually had the exact same standings: Texans, Jags, Titans, Colts.
I I was just really low on the Colts, and that I mean it ended up being accurate with them finishing third, but yeah, that was one of my worst takes, I think.
Yeah, well, one thing that was interesting is we were talking about this division, and I at one point said prior to giving these standings that one of these teams is going to surprise us.
Mhm.
Because that's the way the AFC South is. It's one of the teams will surprise. I think the Colts, even finishing third in the division as they are going to, were the team that surprised us.
Oh yeah,
Because they had a historically good offensive start. The one unit on their team you would definitely guess would not have an offensively like a historic start.
yeah.
Um, but they fell apart. The Titans also were catastrophically worse than I think we would have guessed. Like we knew they were going to be bad because we both put them at the third out of four, and it wasn't like a particularly competitive third.
Yeah.
But my goodness, who would have guessed that Callahan would have got fired and that this offense just would have been so inept still.
Callahan getting fired felt like so long ago too, and then they just continued to be bad.
It just didn't matter. They're like, hey, so like, do you think if Cam Ward comes out next year and the Titans are still bad, do you think that changes where they stand on Cam Ward?
I mean, it really this Cam Ward being successful or not, it was really just going to come down to coaching because he's looked really good at times. At least in terms of specific plays, maybe not game-winning drives all the time, obviously, but like specific plays. So I think that the Titans, I would hope they really do their due diligence and hire a good coach this offseason.
Mhm.
Um, and if everything else around him looks good, like Shamir DK takes another leap, they draft well, and Cam Ward still looks bad, then I think that's an indictment on Cam Ward. But it really will come down to coaching.
Do you think we see any of the wide receivers? Like, do you think we see DK or AO Manor be an actual usable fantasy asset next year?
I I'd say
I'm
yes.
asking way too early. Also,
Well,
to be fair,
I do have an answer. I do think that if the receivers wait until at least round two or later, ideally, to draft a receiver, then yes. Um, I just think that if they take a wide receiver early, then he's going to be the fantasy guy to target.
yeah, okay. We both had Texans first overall, and it was because of their defense, and I think that played out exactly how we would have guessed. It's funny to me though, because the Jaguars was the opposite of what we said. We thought their offense would level up and they would be able to maintain second. Their offense did get better. It was
Mhm.
their defense in the beginning of the year that I think we missed,
Yeah,
and not exactly. You talked a lot about their defensive line, in
it
specific.
still surpassed my expectations. Yeah,
Um, a good season from the Jags. So the Jags end up being first. Neither of us had it. Texans second. Colts and Titans. Um, so we were both off on this one. I don't think we had one place, one team in the right place. We had the right idea.
yeah. There.
Uh,
What was I going to say? Oh, this is maybe my hot take, and I'm not completely doubling down on it or anything like that yet. But I really think that my current Super Bowl pick to make it in the Super Bowl for the AFC is the Texans. Like I'm,
defense is so important in this, especially like as we're going through the playoffs. If CJ Stroud can manage to look competent, and if that offensive line can hold up at all, it wouldn't be shocking to me if they're there.
Stroud has showed a lot of poise in the playoffs, both in
Mhm.
college and in the NFL. Like in college, he had that incredible Georgia game, a game against Georgia against their elite defense, and he played really well. He's won back-to-back playoff games. We forget about that. Like the Texans have been good.
Mhm.
So I do like the Texans to make it out of the AFC this year.
Yeah, and I don't hate it either because it's not like with Stroud, it's gone like this up and down thing. For a minute, he looked like he was going to be the best quarterback in the league as a rookie,
Yeah,
and then we've seen like some dips. But I think at the end of this season, he's looked very very good. He hasn't been lighting up the boards, but he's looked good.
he's played to his defense's strengths. Yeah.
hmm hmm Okay, so AFC North. Willie, you had Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Bengals, Browns. I had Ravens, Bengals, Pittsburgh, Browns. We want the Ravens to win to look like we were really good at this. But other than that, you were closer. I feel like with Burrow getting injured, the whole thing got thrown off because I made the argument that I think the Bengals were going to put in a big run for the money, and I think if Burrow had been there the whole year, they would have. I think like there's a chance that they would have just won the division flat out if Burrow had been there.
Even if they're incompetence with this division, I agree that if Burrow had been healthy all season, then I think the Bengals would have won the North. Yeah.
Even if they had Flacco for those 2 games that Browning started, I think they'd be right in it. Honestly,
Yeah, yeah.
although the Browns trading Flacco to the Bengals is such a crazy thing still, especially when you look at it how it almost changed things and tipped it over for a little bit.
It's the Browns for you.
And we were both correct. The Browns would finish last, so no shock. Finally, the AFC West. We had a switch at the beginning, but you had Chargers, Broncos, Chiefs, Raiders.
Okay.
I had Broncos, Chargers, Chiefs, Raiders. And Willie, you flip flopped on the Broncos and the Chargers at the end, which like if you look at what we're seeing, Broncos have it wrapped up. The Chargers are going to be second. The Chiefs will be third, and the Raiders will be last.
That Chiefs take, I'm proud of us doing that. Like not a lot of
hmm
people were
hmm
so high or so low on the Chiefs
hmm
relation to the Broncos and Chargers.
Yeah, yeah, and I think the biggest inaccuracy we had at the beginning of the season was that we had any optimism that the Raiders would have made improvements in their team. Um, because
Yeah,
other than that, like the Chiefs take was good. I think we talked a lot about them winning so many one score games and how that's not going to happen again. So they're going to fall off. Uh, we were right there with it. Yeah. So yeah, I feel good about the AFC West take.
yeah.
Literally like the only difference is Willie flip flopped on the Chargers and the Broncos a couple different times.
I
So
I think a big part of that was I think we were doing these predictions around the time or maybe just before the Joe Alt injury, and that changed a lot as we
yeah,
saw.
yeah.
But
Um, I actually my reason for taking the Broncos, I thought Bo Nix was going to take another step up, and that is actually not the reason why that happened. So
their defense was just somehow even better than we thought it would be. So
yeah, yeah. And you know whose name I keep seeing over and over again whenever I watch the Broncos is Nick Bonito. He just seemed to have a phenomenal year.
yeah, yeah. He was great last year too.
Mhm. Okay, let's move on to the NFC. NFC East. I had Eagles, Commanders, Giants, Cowboys. You had Eagles, Commanders, Giants, Cowboys. So we were the same there. Cowboys overperformed what we saw. Commanders underperformed. Um, Giants are the Giants. They really sucked. So the
Oh,
Cowboys are the ones that we really missed on here, but like it doesn't matter when the Eagles were our top team and they were so clearly the top team in this division.
yeah, they broke the NFC East curse. They were the first repeat winners in over 20 years.
Gosh, that sucks. That was a fun curse.
That was.
Jaden Daniels being injured for basically the whole season is the story of this division to me because the Commanders, like, yeah, they didn't really look great at any period, but also like we didn't get to see the Commanders as a team that we wanted to see this season with Jaden Daniels hurting his leg and then hurting his arm.
Yeah, I don't. Did we even see Jaden and Debo and Terry in the field at the same time? Maybe one game.
I think it was like one game, and it was the game that Jaden ended up getting his elbow injury. So,
Yeesh.
yeah, it just you could throw out the final three, but we were wrong on the order. But I think both of us had the Eagles as the only team going to the playoffs, and maybe the Commanders on the outside.
Commanders, I was predicting to miss the playoffs, not because of obviously injuries, but I just was really low on their defense, and that proved to be true.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. NFC South. This is a fun one that we talked about that we still have the opportunity to see if we were both right or wrong here. We both had the same order: Panthers, Bucks, Falcons, Saints, and right now Falcons, Saints. Well, it's all up in the air apparently because
Oh,
the
looks like
Falcons and Saints, whoever wins on that one is going to be third.
yeah, they're
Um,
all within a win of each other. I think, or maybe the Saints are a little bit lower, but yeah,
so what if the Falcons win and the Bucks lose? Then the Falcons are second in the division.
yep.
Stupid division, guys. Like, come on, figure it out. Figure it out.
Relegation.
But I think we're both rooting for the Panthers. I mean, I guess I don't know what you're rooting for. I'm rooting for them. That's because that's what I wanted to happen.
Yeah, and I mean not just in general too, but like that was our prediction. So I'd like to see the Panthers. Unfortunately for the Panthers, though, if they win, they'll be playing. Oh, maybe not. I was gonna say I think they'd be playing the Rams, but maybe not. And if that is the case, the Rams are gonna destroy them.
I don't know because didn't they beat the Rams a couple weeks ago? Wasn't that one of the big ones?
They did, but I just feel like that's a game that's ripe for absolute revenge.
Yeah, yeah. The Panthers are weird to me. They're a team. I think I called the Steelers losing to the Browns last week or playing competitive with them because I was like, this is a team that like plays down or plays up.
Yeah, yeah,
And the Panthers also feel like a similar team. They don't show up in the games where they should win, and then on the games that you absolutely don't think they can win, all of a sudden they look elite.
exactly. And and like it's games that you don't think they should win. It's not just like they're playing really well against bad competition. They're playing really well against good competition. It's weird.
Yeah, I can't figure it out. There's some of these teams that just do that, and who knows why. But okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and say that we did pretty good here, either which way,
Yeah.
because we have at week 17 the exact standing is as they are. If one win between these two teams just shakes everything up, it is what it is. That's NFL, I guess. NFC North. Willie, you had Lions, Bears, Packers, Vikings. And then this is going to be my worst one, I think, easily. I had Packers, Vikings, Lions, Bears.
Oof.
Yeah.
There is no world where I was going to predict the Bears to win the division.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, the Bears, I don't want to say they overachieved. I just think we saw the importance of O-line. Once again, I've talked about it before.
Yeah.
Good coach in O-line. Just it's a winning combo.
Yeah.
The Packers. I mean, I'll hang my hat on the fact that the Packers are going to make the playoffs, and I had them as number one, so that's not so far off. But what the Lions and the Vikings, the fact that they have the same record right now is insane.
It is. And I think that if the Vikings beat the Packers and the Lions lose, or even if the Vikings just win, I think that the Lions finish last in the division. So,
yep. Okay, so NFC West, you had Rams, 49ers, Cardinals, Seahawks. I had the Rams, 49ers, Seahawks, Cardinals. So we had the top three went to the playoffs. I think our big difference here was between our Cardinals and Seahawks takes.
My terrible Cardinals take.
I was a little more proud of my Seahawks take because I think I said they could be sneaky and really shock us. And then they did. They shocked everyone.
I was really low on the Seahawks. I think that I obviously gave credit to their defense potentially being really good, but I gotta say Sam Darnold and the O line really surprised me this year.
And the Cardinals just fell apart. But otherwise, it's hard. Rams and 49ers are both top teams in the NFC, so like it is what it is. The Seahawks are the team that kind of threw it in there. So overall, I feel like we did pretty good with this. There's no like report card. I'm just gonna tell you what we did. Keep us honest. For the Doinkers, we'll just give you a quick understanding of what we did. If you want, I'm gonna post some videos on social media. You can check those out for a little bit more in-depth breakdown. My three Doinkers, I had Mike Evans, which is a little bit of a wash. He's looked good in every game he's played, but he didn't play a lot of games. Stinks. Ashton Genty, who, despite being the rookie running back with all of the predictive stats behind that, he's ended up as running back 13 currently. He didn't kill you, but also where you would have had to have drafted him, I think you would be a little upset.
Yeah.
And then I had Drake May. That one definitely hit it out of the park. I love that pick. QB likely going to be QB2 at the end of it all.
I think that with May's great game against the Jets and then Allen's just abysmal game against the Eagles, I think Drake May is pretty comfortably QB1 now.
I have him listed as QB3, but
or maybe that's what it was. Maybe he definitely jumped to QB2. Yeah, something like that.
either which way, like you're happy with it. If you took Drake May as your like late round QB, that was the one who you really wanted this year.
Yeah.
Who
Well,
were your
I'm excited to talk about who that guy will be next year. I already have some ideas, but my Doinkers this year. So my first one, similar to Evans, but even worse. I had Ricky Pearsall, really just a wash of injuries. Like he had a couple good games when he was healthy, but there just really was not much there in terms of health or necessity in the offense for him.
Mhm.
My ever Doinker that I definitely hit was Caleb Williams. Wasn't quite as good as Drake May, obviously, but like for similar reasons. Late round QB, that really proved to have some great games and win you some weeks. Um, I was expecting him to do a bit more with rushing touchdowns, and I think if that had been the case, and the Bears' run game hasn't been as great as it was or as it is, he would have been higher. But
Mhm.
still, for everything else, though, hit with Caleb Williams. And then my last guy was Devontae Adams, which I considered making my premier MVD Doinker, and I wish I had because for every reason that I said to draft Devontae Adams, it came true.
Yeah, yeah.
He did better than I expected, though. I can say that. Just him being such a consistent red zone threat and so involved in the passing game in the
Touchdown
way he has
machine.
been in PPR specifically, really hit it.
Mhm. Mhm. My we'll move on to most valuable Doinkers. And I will say, just as a quick wrap up to all that, good, Willie. I think it went pretty well. Like I'm being optimistic here because, of course, I'm talking about us, but I try to keep us like honest to what we've said on this podcast. If you listen to it, you'll be able to hear what we said beforehand. You'll be able to judge that on your own. But if you listen also to where we're talking about this, we've given a lot of reasons and a lot of reasoning for these things. I think it all
Mhm.
went well.
Yeah, me
Uh,
too.
Most valuable Doinkers. I'll start off. I had Cortland Sutton as my most valuable Doinker for reasons that I don't think actually ended up playing out exactly how I said it because the Broncos took a little bit to figure out the things, and then championship week he kind of busted. That sucks. But wide receiver 10 overall. I did say like, hey, you're gonna get a wide receiver 1 on a discount with this guy, and it did play out that way. Ultimately,
Hmm.
at the end of the season.
He was going like wide receiver 20 in a lot of mocks. So you being that much higher on him shows that like he actually did prove like not only where he was drafted, like he definitely paid dividends there, but like you could have
Mhm.
taken him around or so earlier and it would have worked out too.
Yeah, and like I had Cortland Sutton in like every league. I was definitely in on this one. The hard part for me here was that like there was a stretch where you didn't like having him so much. However, that's true of every wide receiver.
Yeah. My most valuable Doinker was just a huge miss, but my logic I can still defend, that being Tony Pollard. Tony P, I think it finishes as RB24, which is where he was being maybe even like a little bit higher than where he was being taken in mock drafts. So like if you took him at his ADP, you probably weren't disappointed. Um, I just was really high on the concept of having like a semi-veteran running back that is in a system with a newer O-line where he has the opportunity to be the premier back in a ascending offense. Even if Tajay Spears there, like I saw Tony Pollard being the clear back, which for the most part he was. My logic, though, I should have applied to Javonte Williams and the Cowboys. Obviously, Williams was new, Pollard was not, but the whole system around Pollard was new. But if I'd taken my logic and my belief in Pollard and just applied it to the Javonte Williams situation, which was very similar in a lot of ways, that would have paid dividends. But I picked the wrong
Mhm.
guy.
It's such as life. This is how it happens.
Yeah,
We talked a lot about the Titans before, and we thought that they would at least be able to do something, and that did not prove to be
not
the case.
at all. Not at all.
So with that said, I'll wrap up. It's week 18. We're gonna get out of here. We're gonna let Willie have his New Year's Day to hang out. So good luck if you're still in the championships week. I hope you do well. This is the end of the fantasy season, just de facto. Um, I don't know for sure. I suspect maybe me and Willie will get together during one of the weeks of the playoffs.
Yeah, I should be around, and we'll at least do a video and talk about
Hmm.
playoffs, some
Hmm.
early news.
But otherwise, if you've been listening to us or you've gotten any advice from us this season, I just thanks for doing that. Um, good 2025 is crazy. Every year is crazy at the end.
Bring on 2014. Let's go. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
we're gonna get into 2026, and we will once again be here doing the thing. So check us out. We'll be around.
Doink out, guys.
Doink out.